Hi, my name is Tamara and welcome to my family's Microsanctuary. We're located just 5 minutes outside of Kitchener and Cambridge. We're a home for over 40 chickens from all kinds of situations, from factory farms to the small local egg farms to some that were even just found wandering the road. Our hope is that we can help people get to know chickens for how amazing they are and to learn a bit more about them today. This is Russell and he came here about 2 weeks ago and he has been the sweetest little friend. He is only a few weeks old, I'm not sure how many, my guess is about 1.5 months to 2 months. He is very small, he still peeps, and he is so attached to humans. So when he was found along a trail in Brampton, and like he was so scared, so anxious. A family found him while they were walking along a trail behind a suburb, and he was just left there in the tall grass. So our guess is that whoever had them were hatching chicks. They realized he was a rooster and they dumped him. Luckily for Russell, a nice lovely family found him. They kept him in their home overnight and they Googled, got in touch with Frog Hollow Farm Sanctuary, who then contacted us, and we got him the very next day. And all Russell wants is to be with you. If he's not with you, he'll cry and scream. He's been staying in the house with us because he is too small and the other chickens might be a bit mean to him. And that's just to his liking, because all he wants is to be right at your side. Russell will even follow you up the stairs really well. He sleeps on your lap. He likes being snuggled. He's just a sweetheart, and we love watching him grow and get more and more confident every single day. He was a very anxious little guy and I think had some sort of separation anxiety, but no wonder. He was just a tiny little fella when he was abandoned. And yeah, we really look forward to watching him grow and seeing his personality come out, and then eventually when he moves in with our main flock, we'll see him make new friends and learn more about what it's like to be a chick. So this is Gwendolyn. He is our rooster in command, and he's in our main flock, which has most of our chickens. He is the #1 rooster and most of the ladies just adore him. He and his brother Rue and his sister Violet all came to us about 4 years ago now, when they were just little babies. They came from a lovely family who had them for most of their young life, up until they were about 5 months old, when then they started crowing. And unfortunately they were in a municipality that allows hens but not roosters. And so she started panicking, thinking the bylaw officers might be called any minute and she might have her babies taken away. Originally they were from a backyard butcher. He was raising chicks to have for their meat, but I guess he didn't see the point in raising only 4, so he was going to kill them as babies, until he reached out to a vegan family who was like, no, don't do that. And then the rest is history. So ever since, they've been happy boys here and have been absolutely perfect gentlemen with their ladies. This is my very best friend Rue. He is absolutely perfect. My goodness, look at him, just perfect. Rue, we love this boy. He is so good. He is second in command. He kind of defers to his brother Wendell. If Wendell's in the way or if he wants something, he will just move aside. A lot of people think roosters will all fight and you can't keep them together, but it's not true. It really just depends on their personalities. So if Wendell thinks Rue is getting in the way of something, then Rue will tend to just walk away and move somewhere else. There was no real fighting between them. Rue just defers and moves along. He's a good boy, but he's also just a sweetheart. Wendell doesn't really like any human contact or being around us, but Rue, he is my sidekick. He's there first thing in the morning. He likes to eat out of your hand, and before bedtime every night he likes to cuddle up and he'll like get snuggled, and he's just the sweetest. He's always looking out for his ladies. Right now he's saying he's found a snack and he's calling everybody over. You're a good boy, Rue. These are some of our ex-battery hens. Almost all of these white hens, all but one, have come to us right from factory farms. So they were in those tiny battery cages where they have only as much space as a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, to live their entire lives on. So the farms keep them up to 18 months to 2 years, and then if their egg production drops, that's when they get sent to slaughter, and then new hens replace them. Younger hens whose production hasn't dropped as much. But thankfully, through Cedar Row Farm Sanctuary's adoption drive, we were able to get out as many as we can every year and provide them a safe home. So these ladies would have came to us in either 2016 or 2017, and Sadly, one of the things these hens are very prone to is reproductive problems. We had so many cases of what we suspect was ovarian cancer or other illnesses related to that because of how much their bodies have been altered. Their genetics have been altered to lay so much. So one of the things we would love to do is get as many implants as we can, and these implants, they last 3 to 6 months, and they will basically stop egg production. So we use these especially whenever there's any sort of medical issue where there's an urgent need. But we also want to start doing them more in a preventative manner because of how many reproductive illnesses we've come across. So almost all the little white hens are from the factory farms. The little ginger hens, they are mostly from smaller scale egg farms. So these are places that you would hear called local or free range, but they're not always as nice as they're made out to be. They're here for the same reason as the others, because just like factory farms, the small scale ones are all about money, and the older hens who are about 2 years old or so, they will replace them with younger hens and ditch these ladies. We were able to get a number out of various farms, and now they live here and they're happy and safe. And Rue couldn't be happier, eh buddy? He's come over to protect me. So now we are in with our small flock, and it is much smaller. Most of our chickens are in the other side, but this is our sort of special needs area. So here we have Melvin and his 3 ladies, Mary, Betty in the back there, and wee Elsa. There's also our 3 Cornish Cross ladies who are separated because we need to be careful about their food. Hey Melvin, say hello. So this is Melvin, and he is our small flock's rooster. He was found wandering on a road in Etobicoke, and luckily some good Samaritan picked him up. So he was around 5 or 6 months old when he was found, which is around the time that the male chicks will start crowing. So it is likely that somebody got chicks, got surprised that one was a rooster, and sadly dumped him. He arrived to us covered in some weird grease, and we had to just even bath him, get him all cleaned up, and yeah, and he's been here ever since. We tried integrating him into our main flock, and it wasn't so much that the roosters were mean, but it was the hens. They just didn't like him. So poor Melvin, he was just a young little fella at the time. He was just so relieved to get back into his quarantine area and away from those ladies. So yeah, we ended up building his own coop and his own greenhouse, and then it's turned into a great little space for any sort of special needs hens who need to have fewer chickens with them. So here's our 3 Cornish Cross ladies. So these are the hens that they would typically raise for their flesh. And normally they are not allowed to live more than 6 to 8 weeks when they're Russell's age, still peeping. But luckily here, Louise and Marie are already a year old, and then here's Edith. She's celebrated her 2nd birthday in March. So yeah, one of the things about Cornish Crosses you might hear is they won't live past a year old, and it is true unless you actually feed them a restricted diet. So these hens have been bred to want to eat constantly. All they want to do is eat, and they will stop eating eventually, but they still always feel hungry. So they also have been really efficient at putting on the pounds with whatever they eat. So we only give them a 1/4 cup of food twice a day, once in the morning and once at bedtime, and that's it. And it's very important to restrict their diet, because even though that's all they get, along with a lot of like fresh greens and sort of filler foods, they're still the size that they are. Edith is larger than our largest rooster, Rue. But you are the best. So Edith came to us as a young chick. She was only 1 or 2 weeks old. And somebody was going to feed her to their pet snake. Thankfully the snake said, no, we don't want that. And yeah, so then a nice family saved her from that guy and found a sanctuary for her. So Marie and Louise came to us last year along with 5 other hens we fostered before they got to their other home. And they came to us from a University of Guelph research study that normally would have these animals euthanized at the end. Thankfully the student researcher in this one was not willing to let that happen, and she found a home for all 30 babies. And we were lucky to take 2 of them. So they were on an unlimited diet in this study. So when they got to us, they were about 6.5 weeks old, and they were already so big that on the first night I thought that Marie was actually not going to make it because she was so big and she was so sick from her size. Thankfully she pulled through, and they're both doing really well. And Marie, where she was once the biggest chick of the group, is now the smallest of our 3 Cornishes. So this is Gwendolyn. She is an extra special hen who's been here for about a year now. And ever since she came here, she's been sick. So a few days after she arrived, we had to rush her to emergency because she was throwing up and no food or fluids were moving into her system. So we got her fixed up, and she was good for a while. It took about 2 or 3 weeks of medication every day, twice a day. And then once she got over that, she was good, and that was in around last July. Then about 6 months later, she got sick again, and we did the same thing. We gave her the treatment, and then she got better. So that was what, January? Then she also got sick again mid-February, then again in March, and then not like we would fix her up, and then it was like 1 day after we stopped treatment and it came back again. We did some fundraising so we could get her some more diagnostics, and thankfully the community helped us get her there. And in doing so, we found out that it wasn't so much a problem with her crop, which is part of their stomach sort of, but it was an x-ray showed that she has an enlarged liver. So we aren't exactly sure why, but we have some suspicions, so we got her on some different medicine. And yeah, she had some really scary times where we thought for sure we were going to lose her any minute. We called our volunteer vet, Dr. Sarah Dodd. She recommended something, and it was amazing how it brought her back just within a few minutes. So we are forever grateful for her advice and everything that she does to help sanctuaries everywhere, because she saved our perfect little Gwendolyn. So Gwendolyn's on her own because she is perpetually sick. She did have a wee friend, but for the most part she is sort of an independent soul, and she has her own little house because she does have so many health problems. So in there we get to make sure she's safe and doesn't have to deal with anybody being mean to her on top of feeling so unwell and gucky.